Hello everybody, welcome back to Learning Biology. So in this chapter, this is a rather fun chapter because we are finally learning something very related to us, 係同我哋日常生活好相關㗎啦。And in this chapter, we're moving on from the reproduction of plants, but now to the reproduction of humans. Alright? This would be a very interesting chapter, but at the same time, some words may be quite difficult. So please keep on working hard for you to go through this chapter, okay? Also, one more announcement before we get started is that I need to change the style compared to the previous two chapters, okay? So compared to chapter 11 and chapter 12, I was a bit slow, okay? 我有少少慢嘅。Because it loses the meaning of these videos, okay? 令到佢冇乜意思啊。So these videos are supposed to be rather short, so that you won't find it very stressful when you watch these videos to revise, alright? 咁原意就係令佢短少少啦，然後就令到你溫嗰陣時唔會咁 stressful，唔會咁大壓力啊。Okay? So therefore, in the following, unless we are talking about some difficult concepts, 除非我講一啲概念啦 the words, the difficult words, I'll just go through them very quickly, okay? So, just to say that, please pause from time to time so that you can actually stay with me, 得唔得？咁自己去停低某啲字啦，然後就跟住我去讀啦。Alright? So that's the announcements. So there, in the following, from this chapter onwards, I hope that the video can be shorter, 得唔得？Tell me your feedback if you have any when we get to meet face to face also, 得唔得？ Okay? So if there is no question, let's get started. Okay, so chapter 13, please take them out and get ready. Okay, so as I said, in this chapter, we're going to learn about human reproduction. And as human, we cannot carry out asexual reproduction. We can only carry out sexual reproduction. Okay? And in this 13.1 喺13.1呢個位啦 we're going to learn female and male reproductive system 係兩個嘅 reproductive system 啦。指讀一次先 reproductive system. Okay, so as you can see from this page, and there are so many words to remember, and very obviously this would be the dictation part. Okay, this would be the dictation. Okay, so as I said quickly, you may repeat after me. Okay, 自己嚟啦。So first one, urethra. Urethra 係咩嚟嘅咧 ？As you can see，佢會係 from 去到你嘅 bladder 呢一度位嘅 bladder 就係你嘅膀胱啦。Alright, so this is your urinary bladder. So you can just ignore this word urinary. Bladder 亦都係解膀胱啦。So urethra is the tube bringing the liquid to the urethra. Bringing the liquid to the bladder. 得唔得 ？Alright. 好啦，繼續一次讀晒先。Erectile tissue, urethra。嗱，小心啊，依係讀 urethra，唔係 urethra 啦。OK, very similar. This one, testis, penis, vas deferens, seminal vesicle, prostate gland, Cowper's gland, epididymis, scrotum. Okay, so now we're going to describe them a little bit, okay? Because in the following pages, we're going to talk about them in details, 得唔得 Okay, so this one, erectile tissue. 簡單嚟講，中文may not be the same as the following, may not be the same as these words, but just to let you know, okay? So you've learned this word in primary school. So this one is like a sponge, okay? So when it is filled with blood, 當佢係充血嗰陣時啦 it will become erect. 佢會鼓起咗啦，勃起咗啦，得唔得 ？Okay， 咁when in your primary school we call this the 海綿體 ，right? Okay, and then urethra. Urethra is the urine passing out from your bladder to the penis. 當你 pass out 嗰陣時啦，當然佢就會有一個嘅經過，it will pass through urethra. Alright, and then testis very obvious 係個睾丸啦 ，penis 就係你嘅陰莖啦。Vas deferens, okay, this one, if you have a very good memory in your junior science, you have learned this as a sperm duct. 呢個自己可以寫低 ，okay, sperm duct. So as I said earlier, duct is the same meaning as a tube. Okay, 佢係一個管嚟嘅啫。It's just like a tube. Okay, so sperm duct passes the sperm from the 一個嘅 testis to the 一個嘅你可以當係 penis 你可以當係一個嘅甚至 urethra 亦都得啦。就 passes through 一個 sperm duct 或者我哋嘅學名啦。Okay, the scientific name 我哋就會叫做 vas deferens. Okay. 好啦 and then we have 3 glands 聽實啦，係 3 glands in total. 好啦 obviously you can see that this is 1 gland, this is second gland. So where is the third gland? 第三個喺邊度咧？就係呢個 seminal vesicle 啦，得唔得？ Okay, so these 3 are glands. 小心一樣嘢 be careful of one thing, because we need to learn 2 concepts first clearly. One of them is sperm. 之後我哋會講到係 production of sperm later. 咁 which organ 係會真係 for production of sperm 咧？你自己估唔估到咧？ The answer is testis. Okay? And there is another word called semen, 精液. So therefore we need to also know where will produce semen. Which organ, which structure will produce semen? 得唔得？佢會製造精液嘅係咩位置咧？ Okay? So the answer would be, you may also include testis. You may also include testis. But this is not a very accurate answer. 佢係一個額外嘅 answer 嚟嘅。It is an additional answer. Okay? So be careful how the question is asking you. Okay? So where exactly is semen produced? 當然啦 they are the 3 glands. 你可以自己寫低啊。They are the 3 glands. 咁包括一個嘅 seminal vesicle 啦，包括一個嘅 prostate 啦。prostate 呢個字成日聽嘅 ，you often hear about it 就係前列腺啦。Okay? And then the last one is Cowper's gland. This one you hear it less often. 比較少聽嘅。Alright? So these 3 glands will actually produce the semen. Okay, 好啦，冇問題嘅話，also I missed out one thing. So what I was trying to say is that remember, seminal is already helping you. 佢係 produce semen. 佢中文其實有少混淆嘅。你會望到個中文字 in Chinese it's called 精囊 here. So it's called 精囊. But in fact, it is not for production of 精子. It's not for production of sperm. It is for production of semen. Alright? So keep this in mind. And then we're going to move on to epididymis. Epididymis is like a storage of sperm. Okay? 佢係一個儲存 sperm 嘅位置啦。And the last one, very obvious also, is called scrotum. 就係你嗰個嘅陰囊啦。Okay? So it's the skin, a bag of skin. Okay? 好啦 so this one is less important, but you also need to try to remember the position of the structures. Okay? 特別留意幾樣嘢啦。So this is a very large thing. This is the urinary bladder. 咁 remember one thing is that 佢哋係一個包括一個 urethra 啦 ，and 一個嘅 bladder. They are not the reproductive system. Okay, they do not belong to the reproductive system. 佢哋係屬於呢個嘅泌尿科嘅 urinary system 嚟嘅，應該係。Alright? Okay, so a little more things you need to keep in mind is that 你會望到啦 the largest one, the largest gland 呢度就會叫 prostate. And as you can see, compared to the Cowper's gland, it's very, very small. Cowper's gland here. Okay? And then here 啦就會係個 anus. Okay? 就係 anus 係最出呢個位置啦，就係你個肛門啦。然後我哋呢個叫 rectum。Okay, you should remember this in your chapter 6。就係你嘅直腸啦 ，rectum。Okay, there is not much to remember for male. Okay, but there is one I'd say quite silly thing which some students, especially junior students, will confuse for female system. Okay, 陣間再講啦。So have a look of this yourself, okay? 好啦 in the following, we're going to talk about them in details, these structures in detail. 好，第一樣嘢啦喎 so we go through the book and help me underline. 第一樣嘢啦，我哋會有一個嘅 gamete producing, gamete 啦 gamete that means 記唔記得係啲乜 Do you know what are gametes? So they are the sperm or ovum. 自己寫低啦 sperm or ovum. So of course in a male reproductive system, 我哋就會講到 testis 啦，佢哋會係 produce sperm. And one more thing, this is important. 佢哋會 produce 埋呢一個嘅 sex hormones. Okay, so they are inside a sac. 佢哋會喺一個囊入邊嘅 sac. That means it's a 囊. 囊 is like a bag. Bag. 囊. Let me see if I can type it right. Yes, this one. Okay, so it's a bag of skin. So this sac is called the scrotum. 咁然後我哋會知道啦 the scrotum, especially if you're a male, you will see that the scrotum is outside. 我哋會講係離開咗個身體咁滯嘅，但係當然啦 it's not outside the body. 我哋會叫做佢係 outside the abdominal cavity. Abdominal 自己讀一次先 abdominal cavity. Abdomen 係咩嚟嘅咧 ？Abdomen 就係你嘅腹部。Sorry. Abdomen 就係你嘅腹部。Okay, so it's like around your tummy region. Alright, abdomen. Okay, so somehow it is outside your body. You can think it like this. So why is it outside your body? This is often asked. Okay, so put a star here yourself. This is often asked. So that 目的係啲咩啊？ It will be 2 to 3 degrees Celsius lower than the body temperature. Okay, so why does it need a lower temperature? 點解需要個低啲嘅溫度咧？ It is an optimal temperature for sperm development. Okay, 去俾啲精子，去俾啲 sperm 啦，去 develop 啦。Okay, so after talking, you can see later when we draw, we will also draw from the testis first. 然後啦，慢慢向上 we are going to go up gradually. Okay, so and then after talking about the testis, we're going to talk about these things. 包括一個 epididymis 啦，包括你嘅一個 vas deferens 啦，同埋再繼續上落去啦，得唔得？ Okay, so next thing we're going to talk about the epididymis, vas deferens 同埋一個 urethra. Urethra 係尿道 ，it's not urethra. Okay, so epididymis 啱啱講咗啦 ，it's for storage of sperms 啦，佢會 store 一個 sperm temporarily。指到呢個字啦 ，temporarily。好啦 ，temporarily 即係暫時性嘅，暫時性嘅。Okay, besides, it's not like a cloud. 我哋畫出嚟嗰陣時 when we draw them, it's like a cloud, but it is actually a long coiled tube. Coil 即係代表係翹埋一嚿嘅。So you have learned this word when we talk about chromosome. Okay, so they will coil up and become visible. 佢會俾我哋睇得到啦。Okay, so it is a long coiled tube. The next thing I want to ask you is that why is it coiled? 點解需要係 coiled 咧 ？Okay, so think about this yourself. Why is the epididymis, coiled? I didn't spell it wrong, right? Epididymis, yes? So why is it coiled? Think about that. Okay, the next thing 咁就會係一個 vas deferens 啦。vas deferens 佢只係一個 tube 嚟嘅啫。另外講咗啦，佢另外一個名 ，another name is sperm duct。佢會係 carry sperm 啦 ，from 呢個 epididymis 啦，去到一個 urethra 嘅。Okay，and the last thing 就係呢個 urethra 啦。咁當然啦 ，normally it would discharge，自己攞到呢個字啊 ，discharge。discharge 即係排出啊，排出呢個 semen 啦 ，outside of the body during ejaculation，即係你射精嗰陣時啦 ，ejaculation 啦。咁當然啦，佢都會係用嚟做 discharge 嘅 urine 嘅，排出你嘅 urine 即係尿液啦。Okay, and then we keep on going up，繼續向上行咯。And then we will see the three glands，三個 glands 啊。The three glands 咁就會係 seminal vesicles 啦、prostate gland 同埋 Cowper's gland。OK， 好啦，佢哋目的係啲咩啊 ？They will secrete seminal fluid. You can also say they will secrete semen，得唔得 ？And these 4 points are quite important, so put a star here as well. So what are the function of seminal fluid？ 有啲有咩用嘅咧 ？So first one, sperm 佢哋一條條蟲嚟嘅啫嘛 ，so they do not have any liquid to swim in。佢哋冇任何 there is no water for them, right？ 所以啦 ，they actually swim in this seminal fluid. This is a medium, okay, for the sperm to swim. 佢係一個媒介嚟嘅。Besides, as you may know, that there is no food in sperm. 其實 sperm 入邊係冇食物嘅。Okay, they do not have food storage, but ovum has food storage in the cytoplasm. 如果你仲有印象嘅話啦 ，so we learned this in chapter 11, right? So therefore, where does the food come from? The sperm needs energy, right? 佢哋需要 energy to swim. So therefore, 呢一個嘅 seminal fluid 啦，就會 provide sugar， 就會有呢個糖分啦 ，as the energy source for the sperm. Okay? 好啦，第三樣啦，佢會係一個 mucus 即係黏液啦。So this word is seen in chapter 7，咁就會講到一個嘅 mucus secreting cell 啦，佢會分泌一啲黏液啦。Of course this time 佢就唔係喺呢個 respiratory tract 嗰度啦，佢今次係用嚟做 lubrication，係用嚟做潤滑嘅。咁當然就會潤滑呢個嘅 vagina 啦，嗰個陰道嗰度啦。And the last thing is that it is also related to the vagina，OK，係關個 female vagina 事嘅。咁點解咧？就因為呢個嘅 seminal fluid 係 slightly alkaline， 係偏向 alkaline 嘅 ，slightly 即係代表少少啦。OK，so why does it need to be alkaline？ 原因就係因為佢會 neutralize， 自己讀一讀啦 ，neutralize 佢會中和咗啦。呢一個嘅包括兩樣嘢嘅 two things。The first one is acidic urine 啦，佢比較酸性嘅 urine 啦，同埋一個嘅 acidic secretion of 一個 vagina。OK， 喺個 vagina 嗰度都會係一個 acidic secretion。咁點解 vagina 要係 acidic 咧 ？This is important. We're going to learn that in when we talk about the female reproductive system. 得唔得？可以自己諗一諗啊。You can think about this yourself first. OK， 好啦，然後繼續去講啦。So what makes up the semen？ 其實 semen composed of two things 嘅。So therefore you need to be very careful. 第一個啦，佢係有呢個 seminal fluid 啦，就係 by the three glands， 同埋第二個就係 sperm 啦。So the question may ask you, as I said above, the question may ask you, what structure will produce semen? You need to tell me the three glands and testes. 得唔得？呢個位小心啊！好啦，最尾啦，就當然係一個 copulatory， 指到一次啊 ，copulatory。So where does this word come from？ 我哋會 this word comes from copulation。copulation 就係交配啦。得唔得 ？copulatory 咁就會係同交配相關㗎啦。So copulatory organ 咁呢個就會係一個 penis，OK，penis。好啦，咁然後啦，佢入邊有啲咩啊 ？As you can see here, so these are the erectile tissue， 佢係一啲嘅勃起組織啦。So there are many blood vessels inside， 而呢啲 blood vessel as you may guess, what type of blood vessel are these？ 通常佢哋都比較幼細㗎啦 ，they are very small and they have a very narrow diameter，OK？佢哋會有一個 narrow 嘅 diameter，narrow 即係窄啦嘅 diameter。That means they are very small. So this time they are very likely 係一啲嘅 capillaries 啊。Okay? So remember your urethra is only here. So not all of these holes are the urethra. Okay? 小心啊，淨係好短好細條嘅啫。Okay? So the rest are the capillaries. 佢哋會做啲咩啊 ？urethra 會有啲咩用啊 ？urethra 就會係 transfer your semen 啦，就會 into 呢個 vagina 嘅 during sexual intercourse 啦，或者我哋上面學咗一隻字啦。咁 sexual intercourse 咧就表示性交 ，ejaculation is 射精 ，so they are different。OK， so ejaculation is just a process 係一個過程嚟嘅，但 sexual intercourse is like it's like a longer process。OK， 一個長少時間嘅一個 process 啊。Okay, so the last thing I would like to talk about before we end this male reproductive system 啦，就會係一個嘅 prostate gland。咁 we often hear this in advertisements， 就係講前列腺啦，有前列腺癌啊，又有前列腺脹大啊。That means cancer-related prostate gland enlarges. Okay, so what we're going to talk about 就係 this thing often happen to men over 50。通常超過50歲啦 ，this will happen. Okay, so how do we know that？ 我哋點樣會知道嘅咧？Usually we do have some checking, body checking, and the doctor will put a finger into your rectum, into your rectum 喺度，咁就擺個手指入去直腸嗰度啦。And you will feel if your prostate glands has enlarged or not. OK， 咁就通常會做呢一樣嘢啦。So what happened is that after it is enlarged， 當佢脹大咗之後啦 ，it will press， 佢會撳咗啦，壓住咗啦 your urethra。So therefore you will like to go to washroom very often. Okay, so you think that okay, I have some pressure, I feel some pressure, I may need to go to washroom. But each time you can just go for a small amount, you can pass out only a small amount of urine. 得唔得？你只能夠係排咗少少尿啦，甚至啦 ，when it keeps on enlarging, it will press your urethra. so that your urination 你排尿嗰陣時啦 it may be quite difficult. Okay, so that's all for the male reproductive system. It is talking about the words, it would be a bit more difficult than the female reproductive system. Alright, let's move on. And then the next part, we're going to talk about female. As you can see, the number of words is a lot less, 係少好多㗎啦. Of course, this would be another dictation. Okay, still. 咁好啦，咁樣repeat after me, alright? 咁我哋會有一個嘅 ovary 啦，就係呢個卵巢啦。The funnel shape opening 即係代表一個開口。Okay, so it's opening, and this shape we call it the funnel shape. Funnel 係一個漏斗啊。Okay, and then we have the cervix 就係我哋成日聽嘅子宮頸啦。Vagina 啱啱有講過嘅 we talk about this 就係一個嘅陰道啦。Oviduct 指到度啦 ，oviduct 就係輸卵管 ，uterus 係你嘅子宮啦。Okay, so there is also one more thing here, as you can see. Okay, so I'm trying to talk about this line. 佢好似一條線咁樣嘅 ，so you can also point it out first. We call this the uterus lining. Uterus lining. So lining is just like a line. 佢係一個膜嚟嘅啫，我哋就會叫子宮內膜啦，得唔得？佢係一個入邊嘅膜啦。So that's all for female reproductive system. Let's see if there's a little thing we can talk about. Ovary, as you may guess, it is very similar to testis, production of ovum, and female sex hormone. Okay, so remember the ovum does not go through here. Okay, 佢唔係咁樣走嘅。This is only a muscle. Okay, so the ovum will go through here to the oviduct and then out to the uterus. Okay, 然後呢個 cervix 咁就係大概呢個位置啦。So it's the right between your vagina 啦同埋一個 uterus 嗰度嘅。Okay, so there's not much to talk about. But when we talk about the side view, I don't know if some male students do have this misconception 啦，可能仲會有呢個嘅少少認知問題啦。So it's okay, it's just knowledge, alright? So first of all, 其實我哋會成日 we often believe that when a female is having a baby， 當佢有 BB 仔嗰陣時啦 we often think that the tummy 佢哋個肚啦會大過咗 but in fact it is not. So the tummy is just like here. So it's not the tummy 佢哋個肚啦係 getting larger, but it's actually the uterus. 當個 uterus 係 larger 嗰陣時咧，其實 uterus 係會低過你嘅 tummy 少少嘅。It's not exactly the same, alright? So when the uterus is getting larger, the whole abdomen 啱啱講咗個腹部啦 the abdomen will actually sticks out 佢會係突咗出去咯 alright so this is the first thing and another thing is that as you can see the female reproductive system is only here 係 the pink area 啦係咪啊 and some of you may think that vagina is also for discharge of urine 記住啦 vagina 同埋 urine 咧係分開嘅 okay so it's not the same tube. It's not the same area as like male. Male 嘅話，你會知道啦 ，for 一個嘅 passage for 一個 sperm and urine 啦，係 the same， 都係 urethra 嘅。但係啦 ，in a female urethra and 呢個 vagina 係分開嘅 ，they are separated， 得唔得？所以啦 ，menstruation is very different from urination。OK， menstruation 係啲咩嚟嘅咧 ？Menstruation is very different from urination。Okay, so menstruation is 月經, right? And urination is 排尿. Alright, so they are very different. Menstruation, yeah. So menstruation, you know this word because in Chinese we often say M 道, right? So the M comes from menstruation. 好, that's all. And we will move on to the next page. 好啦，咁然後咯 the next thing we're going to talk about, so please underline with me again. Ovaries 今次講快少少啦 because it's quite similar to the male system 亦都係啦佢係 gamete producing 嘅佢 produce ova 啦或者 ovum 就係 singular ova 係 plural 啦同埋啱啱講咗啦 it's for female sex hormones okay and then we go up 又再向上行啦我哋會有一個 oviduct 啦就係輸卵管啦 so they have a funnel shape opening 嘅咁然後啦 so inside the oviduct 其實 is not a very smooth thing佢唔係一個好滑捋捋嘅嘢嚟嘅。So as you can see here, this is the internal. Look at the diagram on the right. Okay. Yeah. So you can see that it is like there is some cilia， 我哋呢啲會叫 cilia 啦。呢一隻字喺邊度見過啊？我雖然 chapter 7， 我哋會有啲嘅 ciliated epithelial cell 啦，佢哋嘅 cilia 會 beating 啦 ，beat 啲乜嘢啊？佢會 beat 一個嘅 mucus 嘅，得唔得？佢會 beat 一啲嘅黏液啦。But here in the oviduct is not for beating mucus，alright？ 咁我哋就再睇一睇啦。佢會有呢一啲嘅 ciliated epithelial cell 啦，簡單嚟講就係佢會有呢啲嘅 cilia 啦。咁然後就會去 beat and sweep， 記住啊，呢兩隻動詞 ，these two verbs are very important. So we often say the beating of cilia. Okay? And 佢哋會 beating 或者 beating and sweeping 啦 of 呢一個嘅 cilia 啦。Alright? 咁 this time they are beating and sweeping what？ 佢哋 beating and sweeping 一個嘅 ovum 啦，甚至係一個 early embryo 嘅。So why is it related to embryo? Embryo 你見到係一個胎兒啦。So it's like depends on fertilization. Okay? 因為 if the fertilization, okay, we'll talk about this in detail later. But fertilization 呢個記一記先 ，try to remember this. Fertilization takes place in the oviduct, not the uterus. OK? 佢喺 oviduct 嗰度進行，唔係 uterus， 得唔得 ？OK? 咁然之後啦 ，so after they fertilize, sperm fills with ova. Fertilization takes place, zygote is formed. They carry out. OK， 依個位已經 we repeat this a lot of times 㗎啦 ，even in chapter 12. Alright, and then the next thing 就係乜嘢啊？下一樣嘢就會係佢哋會 the zygote 會 carry out 一個 mitosis 啦，或者 mitotic cell division 啦，而 become a ball of cells。嗰個 a ball of cells 就會叫做 embryo 啦。等等就會成為咗一個胎兒啦。sorry， 胚胎啊，胚胎 ，sorry in Chinese。OK， so that's all for this oviduct。好啦，然後啦 ，as you can see， 佢就問你啦 ，Where can you find the ciliated epithelial cell？ The answer will be simple， 啱啱講咗啦，就會係你嘅 respiratory tract 啦，自己寫翻啦 ，respiratory tract。So as you can see, biology is like interconnected， 佢哋每一課都係 interconnected 嘅，係相關嘅。Alright。So, for example, which part of your respiratory tract 啊？例如你會揾到係你嘅 nasal cavity 會有啦，你嘅一個 trachea 會有啦，你嘅一個嘅 bronchi 啊都會有嘅。Sorry, bronchi 或者啦 ，in singular 嘅話啦 ，singular 就係 bronchus 啦。OK， 記住啦 ，remember, do we have that in bronchioli? Bronchioli. Sorry.We do not have that in bronchioli. Bronchioli 太細啦，得唔得 ？OK， of course 亦都唔會喺 air sac 嗰度揾到啦。OK， so that's all, and then let's move on to uterus. Uterus 比較重要少少啦 ，it's very important. First of all， 佢係一個 pear shape 嘅啦，好似一個梨咁樣嘅啦。It has a thick muscular wall. OK， sorry, I missed out one thing. Could you help me also put this down? So other than beating and sweeping of your cilia, I'll mention this again later, okay? But the muscle contraction of 呢一個嘅oviduct also helps 一個嘅 sweeping 啦，或者係一個嘅 the ovum 啦 to move to your uterus. So basically, there are two things helping the ovum to move. The first thing is the beating of cilia. The next thing is the muscle contraction of the oviducts. Okay, so these two are important. Please write it down. 好啦，再嚟咯 ，uterus 嗰度啊 ，sorry， 啱啱跳一跳啊。Okay, so it has a thick muscular wall 啦，同埋佢 rich in blood supply 嘅。咁 why is it rich in blood supply? We'll talk about that when we talk about 一個嘅implantation 係啦。當佢 when the mother has a baby, so it needs to give food, give nutrients and oxygen to the baby, right? And take away the urine 啊、urea 啊，同 take away the carbon dioxide, right? 所以啦喺嗰個過程入邊啦 ，we need to develop 一個 placenta， 我哋要有一個胎盤啦。We'll talk about that later, don't worry, okay? And how does the mother and the baby communicate 就係 through the placenta 啦，同埋 there are a lot of blood vessels there 嘅，得唔得 ？So therefore this uterus 就會係一個 rich in blood supply 啦，得唔得 ？Okay, so another thing you need to know is that it's a site of implantation， 指多次啦 ，implantation 就植入啦。So implantation basically means the embryo is getting into the mother's body。OK， 佢終於係黐住咗啦。It is attached， 幫我寫寫啊 ，attached to the， 你可以同我講啦，係 uterine lining 啦，或者 attached to the 你暫時學到嘅 attached to uterus 啦 of the mother 啦。OK， 咁就係 embryo attached to 呢一個嘅 uterine lining of the mother 啦。好 ，another thing 啊，繼續咯喎 ，so it's very thick with blood supply site of implantation 啦。咁同時啦 ，since it has a thick muscular wall， 其實佢會係 protect 呢個 embryo 嘅 ，OK。然後啦，佢都會 provide 一個 stable 嘅 environment 啦。This is very similar to 呢一個嘅amniotic fluid，OK。即係同羊水好相關啊。Amniotic fluid is the fluid the baby is in， 得唔得？咁佢就會 protect 呢個 embryo 啦，佢會係 provide 一個 stable environment 啦。We'll talk about that later，OK？This is not very important, so just keep this in mind。呢幾個 point 啦，唔係太重要嘅啫。Okay, so again, thick muscular wall 除咗會 protect 個 baby、protect 呢個embryo 之外啦，佢都會係 contract to push out the fetus 嘅。咁你會知道 ，OK, now you see different words. We have embryo, we have fetus, we have baby. Okay, so just keep this in mind. Embryo 係 early stage, okay, or very early stage. And then it will develop to become a fetus. Fetus 係咩嚟嘅咧？After it develops 呢一個嘅major organs， 主要嘅器官啦出現晒啦 ，and after it is given birth 出咗世啦 ，after it is given birth， it is called a baby。OK， 好啦 ，so and then last part 就會係講緊呢一個嘅 lower end 啦，即係代表低啲嘅位置啦。Lower end, so where is it? So basically we're talking about this area。OK， the lower end。Lower end 嗰度啦 ，you will see that it is a ring of muscle. Okay, it's called the cervix， 就係子宮頸啦。Okay， 子宮頸。Of course, this is also related to childbirth， 係同我哋分娩嗰陣時啦係相關嘅啦。佢會係 dilate。留意一樣嘢啊，佢唔係 contract 嘅 ，OK， 佢都唔係 relax， 因為我哋會用 dilate， 佢哋係舒張嘅，得唔得？佢會係 dilate 啦，然後去 allow the fetus to pass through 嘅 ，OK。Don't worry, we will talk about this later. And last part 真係最後啦，咁我哋就會講到 vagina 啦。vagina 就有陰道啦。Of course， 咁當然係 during sexual intercourse 嗰陣時會用到啦。咁就會係 hold the penis 同埋 receive 呢個 semen 啦。記住我哋唔係 receive sperm 㗎 ，OK？ 我哋係 receive semen 嘅。semen 提一提你啦，包括咗一個嘅 seminal fluid 啦 and sperm 嘅。OK， 除非個男係冇 sperm 嘅啫。Alright。And we have also talked about this. The environment is acidic 啦，係酸性嘅啦。目的係啲咩啊 ？It is to reduce bacterial growth， 所以係一個保護你身體嘅機制嚟嘅。It's protecting your body， 得唔得 ？Alright。And lastly, so after your uterus contracts，OK， your uterus 會 contract 啦。muscular wall 會 contract 啦，你嘅 cervix 會 dilate 啦。最尾啦，當然你 needs to pass through your vagina 嘅，所以係一個 birth canal for 一個嘅 fetus 嚟嘅。OK，canal 啊，或者 canal 啦，你可能讀。咁 this word we have seen this. Where did we seen this? Where have we seen this? 就係一個嘅 elementary canal 啦。elementary canal。OK， 咁就係一個道啊。It's also meaning a tube. OK，it's also meaning a tube。So that's all for 13.1. As you can see, it's only 4 pages, but I still use more than half an hour, so I'm really sorry about that. So I hope that this time I try to go through them faster, and I hope this helps. Okay? So in the following video, I'll also keep this pace. 我會保持呢個速度㗎啦。So please keep up with me and do this page. That's all for this section, and I'll see you again in chapter 13.2. Okay, so that's all. Ask me if you have any question, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.